Hi everybody, it's Gardener Julia here. Welcome back for another month of virtual garden school. Today I'm at the Lincoln Park Garden. I'm so excited to be in the garden with you all today. We are now in the month of April, which means that we are no longer in winter. Do you know what season we're in now? Spring! We are now in springtime. That means that there is a whole lot of change happening all around us. Plants are starting to grow, flowers are beginning to bloom, the weather around us is warming up, and you might be also noticing more bees and other insects coming out of their hibernation. Have you noticed any of these changes happening outside? Another special thing about April is that Earth Day is in the middle of April. This year, Earth Day is on April 22nd. So April is a really cool month to be in. Today, we are going to be talking about bees in particular. We're going to talk about why they are so important for the garden. Then we're going to be scientists and we are going to go on a walk and look for bees and other pollinators that are all around us. First, let's learn the sign language sign for flower. It goes like this. You take your pinched fingers and put them up to your nose on each side, kind of like you're smelling a flower. Let's try it. All right, now that we know our sign language word for flower, I want you to think, have you noticed any flowers in your neighborhood? When you look outside or go for a walk, have you been noticing flowers blooming around you? In the Lincoln Park Garden, we have daffodils, dandelions, these purple and blue borage flowers, some really tall kale flowers, some purple hellebore flowers, and a ton of rosemary flowers. All of these flowers have bright colors and they smell so good. Not only might you see flowers blooming around you, you might also see more bugs and insects right now. Can you think for a moment, why do bees and butterflies help our garden? Just like friends, bees and flowers work together in the garden. Bees sip the sweet nectar, which is kind of like a juice in the middle of the flower. And as they drink the nectar, they get pollen all over their fuzzy little bodies. They move that pollen to the next flower, and this is called pollination, and it helps plants make seeds. If they were honeybees, they would turn that nectar into honey. This process is called pollination. Can you say that once with me? Pollination. There are over 20,000 different types of bees in the world, and honeybees are just one type. Have you ever heard of a mason bee before? It's a different type of bee than the honeybee that makes honey. I actually have some mason bee cocoons with me. Inside of each of their cocoons, there is a fully formed adult bee. Right now, I can see a bee who is trying to chew her way out of her cocoon. I'm going to sit here very still and very quiet. I'm going to watch her chew her way out of her cocoon and make her way out to start exploring the world. Let's watch. Mason bees are super cool bees. They are playful, messy, and super gentle to humans. All right, so let's pretend that we are these two different types of bees. We're gonna try being a honeybee and then a mason bee. When honeybees get nectar and pollen from a flower, they are very careful. When they land on a flower, They take pollen from that flower, their front legs, and they carefully stuff it into pollen baskets that sit on their back legs. They are very clean pollinators. When mason bees pollinate a flower, they are really messy and playful pollinators. When they see a flower, they do a belly flop onto the top of a flower and they roll around in it like a little puppy dog. By doing this, they get pollen all over their bodies and get really, really messy. This actually means that they are much better pollinators and pass more pollen between flowers. All right, I have a magic wand here, and I am going to use my magic powers to turn you into a bee. First, I'm going to turn you into a honeybee, and I want you to be a honeybee who is drinking nectar and finding pollen on flowers. Are you ready to be a honeybee? 1, 2, 3. I want to see, how do honeybees move around? Bzz. Can you show me your honeybee wings, please? Bzz. All right, now flap your wings until you find a flower. Now, like a very careful honeybee, carefully sip the nectar from your flower. Then carefully collect the pollen from your flower and stick it into your pollen baskets on your legs. Scoop. Wow, I have such beautiful honeybees all over. Next, I am going to turn you into a mason bee. Remember, mason bees are super messy and playful bees. 1, 2, 3. All right, flap your wings like a little mason bee. Oh, and you spot a flower. Do a giant belly flop onto your flower. Whoosh. And guzzle down that nectar. Can you roll around in the pollen like a little puppy dog? Do you think that you are covered in pollen now? Beautiful. I have such beautiful mason bees. Do you think if you were a bee, do you think that you would be like a honeybee, clean and tidy, or would you be like a mason bee, a little messy and playful? All right, now that we know a little bit more about our bees and why they are so important for our gardens, let's go outside and take a little pollinator walk. You can do this in your neighborhood, in your backyard, or do this around school if you are coming back into building. I'm gonna go on my walk around my neighborhood. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pretend that we are little bees looking for flowers. On your walk, try to keep count of all of the different flowers that you see. Try to pretend that you are a bee and you can go up to the flower and touch it, see if you can get a little pollen on your finger. And when you get back from your walk, make a drawing of all the flowers that you remember from your walk. Let's go. Thank you for learning about flowers and bees with me today. Remember, the next time that you see a bee outside, you can get very still and quiet and whisper, "Thank you, bees." Bye, see you next time.